I be getting to the money. Everybody mad. I think I'm getting too much money. Everybody mad.
What's up, Wealth Babe? Welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, I want to welcome you with open arms. Please feel free to join the Wealth Babe community. So if you're interested in more wealth building content, be sure to hit that subscribe button and also click the bell to turn on post notifications. In today's video, I want to talk about our consumer habits and how we go about deconsumerizing our brains. So let's go ahead and jump right into today's video. As humans, we will always find a way to spend some money. It doesn't matter if we have a little bit of money that we know we should be spending on bills, or if we have no money at all, we will still find a way to spend the money that we don't have, right? And it doesn't help that our environment stimulates this spending behavior. And you'll notice, here's an example, you'll notice that when we turn on the TV, every commercial that comes on is enticing you to go out and make a purchase for whatever they're advertising in said commercial. Or if you walk into a store right now, you'll see sales on items within the store. But if you take a step back, you'll notice that you'll spend less money on the items that are on sale if you ignore the sale completely than you would if you fall for the items that are on sale and use that sale price. I am not lying here. Check it out for yourself. Go in the store and look at some items on the shelves that are on sale and do the math. So because there are all of these marketing tips and tricks, we in this video can familiarize ourselves with a few biases which will thereby help us to curb our spending, right? And hopefully in turn deconsumerize our brains. Now, the 5 biases that we're going to familiarize ourselves with in this video are sunk cost fallacy. We're going to also review buyer's Stockholm syndrome, which is also buyer's remorse. We can review, or we are going to review, the status quo bias. The 4th one that we're going to review is anchoring bias, and the last one that we're going to review is bandwagon effect. So we're going to start with sunk cost fallacy, and the best way for me to describe the sunk cost fallacy is pretty much to explain if you've ever been in a relationship and you felt like you didn't want to get out of a relationship because you've already spent so much time putting in a lot of effort in a relationship. So you're thinking, well, why would I get out of this relationship when I've already spent all of this time and effort in this relationship? Let's stick it out. Now, with sunk cost fallacy, it's pretty much the same logic. You're going to a store to buy one item, but you turn around and realize that they don't have the item in the store. Now you're like, I have to purchase something because I came all this way. I need to get something. They don't have what I came here for, so let me buy something. Well, the issue here is most times when you buy another item, you are going to be spending more money than you initially bargained for. So what I do, or what I challenge you to do, is ask yourself a simple question, and that question is, how much more money am I spending if I have to purchase something else? So the second bias is buyer's Stockholm syndrome, and you may have heard it as buyer's remorse. And what this one is pretty much we try to make a decision to support our bad financial habits. So an example here is, let's say we know we don't have money to purchase some AirPods. It's a random example, but we want to purchase some AirPods and we know we don't really have the money. Well, buyer's remorse will kick in when you know you don't have the money, but you come up with a crazy reason for why you really need these AirPods. And one of those reasons may be, well, if I don't get the AirPods, then it will attribute to, I don't know, me feeling very terrible because I can't play my music out loud. Otherwise, I'd be disturbing everyone in the house when I play my music. Something silly, but whatever you're doing when you have buyer's remorse is that you really pretty much just rationalize the spending when it's a bad financial decision because you don't really have the money to purchase whatever it is that you want to purchase, but you will rationalize to make that purchase. So that's buyer's remorse in a nutshell. So the next one is status quo bias. And first I'll explain status quo, and then we can talk about some status quo biases when it comes to financial topics. So status quo pretty much is, it is what it is. It's always going to be this way. It's always has been this way, so it's forever going to be this way. So that's pretty much my definition of status quo. And a few status quo biases when it comes to financial topics such as investing. The status quo bias is that it's risky. Investing is always risky. It always has been risky. It always will be risky. Or when it comes to negotiating for a raise, the status quo bias may be they don't pay a lot of money here anyway, so why would I get a raise even though I have skills to, you know, deserve a raise. Pretty much the status quo bias is we don't make enough money here. No one makes enough money here. They never paid employees enough money here. So that's just how it is, and that's how it's going to be. Another example I can give is with, let's say, paying off debt. If you've ever found yourself saying that I'm never going to be out of debt, like everyone has debt, it's just a way of life, you know, I'm always going to be in debt. That's a status quo bias for paying off debt. So pretty much just recognize when you feel like you're falling into the status quo biases when it comes to these financial topics. So now we're going to talk about anchoring bias, and this one is one that I pretty much fall victim to a lot. So anchoring bias is when you go somewhere and you, let's just say a restaurant for example, you find that there is a very expensive item that you would love to have. So let's just say you want to buy a vegan burger at this restaurant that you're at, but this vegan burger is expensive. It's like $30 just for the vegan burger. Now you'll see the next item on the menu, and that's also a vegan option, but it's less than the $30 vegan burger. This vegan item on the menu is $25, and that is still expensive for this one item, but because you just saw that $30 vegan burger item that just blew your mind, you're now just saying, okay, this $25 isn't too bad, when really in reality both are bad. They are both very expensive, but now you're just going to spend $25 instead of the $30. So that's anchoring bias. Make sure that when you are in any store, restaurant, electronic store, that you're not falling victim to the anchoring bias, which is when you see one item, it's very expensive. You see the next item, it's very similar, but it's less expensive. So you think that it's okay to make that purchase, or you're justifying that purchase because it's less expensive, when in reality they're both very expensive. And last but not least, the bandwagon effect. And I'm pretty sure that everyone watching this video is familiar with the bandwagon effect, which is you're hopping on the train because everyone else is on this train. So you're hopping on the bandwagon, in other words. Now, the bandwagon effect is pretty much everyone else has it, why don't I have it? So a pair of shoes, for example, in the neighborhood. Everyone in the neighborhood or everyone at your school has these shoes, so you want to go out and get these shoes. Bandwagon effect. You never even liked the shoes until you saw everyone else with them. Now you feel like you need to have these shoes when you really don't need to have these shoes. Another example would be taking a trip to Miami. You see everyone going to Miami. You never even cared about going to Miami. You would much rather go to another place in America, or you'd much rather travel abroad. So instead of saving your money to go abroad, you hop on the bandwagon and spend the money that you could have been saving towards that trip abroad, and you spend that on a trip in to Miami. So that's bandwagon effect. I'm pretty sure you all have heard of that one, but I'll leave that there. So now that we are familiar with these biases, I challenge you to keep them in mind when you're out shopping. We have to beat these biases, and the first place, in my opinion, to start is to be familiar or become familiar with what these biases are. And if you've made it this far in the video, then you've accomplished that. But now we must just know when we're out shopping how we are triggered, so when they appear, and how we are triggered, so when we're in the act of actually spending some money. Keep these biases in mind. That's it for now, Wealth Babe. Comment below and let me know if you've ever fell victim to one of these biases and you're only just now recognizing it, or if you've recognized it back then and pretty much just didn't have a term for it. Let me know in the comments below. So as always, I'm going to end this video, and I want you to know that if you're not always fully, truly, and totally committed to building wealth, then chances are you won't. Mwah.